Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday live stream. Got a lot of things to go over. Let's just jump right into it. So just like the title and thumbnail suggests, we're talking about the 4-year cycles. Now, usually everybody here knows that, but just as a quick refresher, everything seems to go into the 4-year cycles. Everything starts with a halving, which lasts the first one in 2012. Then a year after that, you get an all-time high, and that was in 2013. Then you get a massive dip and a reset. That'd be 2014 and 15. Then it happens again. 2016, we get a halving. 2017, all-time high. 2018 and 19, dip and a reset. 2020, we have a halving. 2021, all-time high, dip, reset. And of course, here we are in 2024, halving, I think it was April 20th. And now we're supposed to hit all-time highs, which we have done. But the question is this it for these 4-year cycles? And this was, there's going to be two ways to look at this. One is Charles Hoskinson, and he was on with Blockworks, and he talks about why he believes that it's not. 4-year cycles are dead, and things are different now, which, okay, we can go that route. And also, I'm going to introduce you to Matt from Bitcoin Magazine Pro, where he says that is not true. So just listen to this. This, again, is Charles over on Blockworks explaining why he believes the 4-year cycles are dead. And really what it comes down to is a giga-chad cycle. So just take a listen to this.
And since you've been in the industry has run on these, the market cycles have run in these 4-year cycles, obviously. I'm curious if you think the 4-year cycle is still intact.
No, it's a different cycle. It's something different going on. And I don't even think we're close to the peak of the bull market. People have gotten so pessimistic and cynical that they're like, oh, the market's dead. And we've ballooned. It's like, dude, clarity's not even passed yet. When clarity gets passed, the Mag 7 are going to enter the cryptocurrency space. You're going to have stable coins go above 1 to 2 trillion in issuance. You're going to have real world assets come in. The total market cap aggregate is going to be over 10 trillion. And so I call this the Giga Chad bull run. It's like the biggest bull run we've ever had. And when Bitcoin starts stalling, then the alts will pop. And so you're going to see great ratios that, come from this whole thing. And yeah, it'll die off a little bit, but it's like every time you have these windows, you go to new all-time highs and then you stay at new all-time lows, and so it's no longer a 4-year cycle because it's not retail led anymore. It's more led by institutions and it's more led by massive investors. But simply put, there's just too much going on. The inventories on Bitcoin are too low. You got these DATs injecting gargantuan amounts of money into the market, and there's no way not to see a bull run, from all.
When do you think we hit? Wait, so what are we at today? 4 trillion, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at 4 trillion. When do you think we hit 10 trillion?
Before the end of the cycle, and I think the cycle will last throughout 2026 because clarity is going to be the catalyst. I think that really bootstraps it up. And the only reason why we haven't super taken off was that there was an irrational exuberance when Trump got elected, and then it didn't immediately pay off, and so people got a little crazy about it. And then, the tariffs and all the macroeconomic stuff kind of shook the market a little bit, but people are starting to look at crypto as a counter-cyclic and as a hedge asset to the collapse of the US dollar or, to inflation or, there's such thing.
Great. So all that could be true. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Charles is totally wrong for one way or the other. It's just, you have to remember that this would be my 3rd cycle, started in 2017. And every time we start talking about an extension or prolonged cycles, they're always proven wrong. And there's a natural exuberance that happens because we know that this is the inevitable future. And this is for every business that opens up. You have this feeling, I've opened up many businesses, they feel like this is it, this is the one. And it may be, and it could be, I think, of course, Bitcoin and a specific few altcoins are going to do quite well, but I can't tell you the time frame. And that's the bigger issue. So when we hear about this, like it's going to keep going forever, I just want everybody to step back and just remember that we've heard this song and dance quite a lot of times. I'd love for it to happen. I really would. But don't just take everything as gospel. Use your head. And then there's a couple of things. So Charles talked about in 2026, and then he talked about the Clarity Act. Now, just so everybody knows, the Clarity Act, that is potentially going to get on Donald Trump's desk by the end of August, hopefully August 31st. It still has to pass the Senate. I think it went to the House already. And it really goes through 6 different things. And some of these things could be awesome. Clear regulatory framework. This is what I've been talking about forever. I know people didn't think this was very popular back when I said it in 2022, but this is what we need. Distinct roles for the SEC and the CFTC, reduce regulatory ambiguity, and just say, okay, this is a currency, this is a crypto, this is a security, this is, and so on, and this is a commodity. This has to happen. And that's great if when the Clarity Act goes through. I think it'll streamline a lot of things. Great. Defined asset classification, like we just talked about. Encourage innovation, sure. Consumer protection, this would be really big for Elizabeth Warren. She could finally get something she wants. Enhances investor confidence with clear disclosure standards and protections against fraud. Gary Gensler would be super happy. And U.S. competitiveness, positions the U.S. as a leader in institutional participation. Encourages banks and funds to engage in crypto activities like custody and lending, boosting market growth. This is already happening right now. The different heads of different organizations, I think it's the SEC, has actually came out and said, look, if you're a bank, we want you to custody these types of digital assets. The banks just are slowly getting into it. They're coming around, but it's going to take some time. And I think this might be the big thing. Now, again, is this the end all be all? No, it's not. There's a lot of things that have to happen for us to really get going. And what not changed my mind, but what really validated this, I sat down with Matt. He's the lead analyst for Bitcoin Magazine Pro. I'm not going to play this video. It's about 22 minutes in length. I will play this on Saturday. And the data that he shows me is like, look, the most dangerous aspect in investing is this time it's different. And he goes, I'm going to show you 7 charts, which pretty much says it's not different. I will release that on Saturday. And I can just tell you from here, MVRV Z-score, realized capital ratio, well sharding, all these things, it did make a lot of sense. Now, could we all be wrong? Sure. But I just want to preface that I would love for this to happen. I would love for 2026, we get to $200,000 and we go into the end of 2026 and just keep going and going and going with small pullbacks, which is what Michael Saylor talks about. Do I think it's going to happen? Don't know. I sure hope it does, and we'll see what happens. Let me just think about that in the comments section. And then as a reminder, what really drives everything is macro. And this is a pretty big week. First of all, today we got a couple of interesting pieces. Advanced U.S. trade balance in goods, not goods and services, just goods. The trade balance was negative 96 billion last month. And that is, of course, because a lot of the businesses were trying to import as much as possible because they didn't know what the heck was going on with President Trump and tariffs. Pretty smart move, actually. And now we're at 86 billion in the positive. And if we take a look here, this is usually it is negative as far as like balance of trade. We can see that America sure loves to not so much export, but import a ton, usually around 40 billion. And then, of course, March and April, we were a little bit on the other side, even more so because of tariffs. And we actually got a big news yesterday with the EU, and actually 2 days ago, the EU came in and said, hey, we're gonna make a deal, and we covered that a couple of days ago. We'll see how it goes. Also, you can see that GDP is going to come in tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning, and last time was negative 0.5%, again because of tariffs, people importing, and not as much exporting goods and services. We expect 2.3%, and we'll see what it is. If GDP is above 2.3, I believe the markets will do extremely well. Pending home sales, and then also the big one, FOMC interest rate decision. And just to preface this with GDP, usually we're doing pretty good, a little negative here. But tomorrow for Jerome Powell to come out, it's a 97.4% chance he's not cutting rates. So we'll see what happens. But again, the macro has to follow, or the macro has to happen first. The markets will follow, even though the S&P 500 is doing pretty amazing. So let me know what you think about that. And of course, the comments section. Also, one more piece of good news, or actually two, is that tomorrow we're going to get the U.S. crypto stockpile report. It's going to tell us, of course, the government digital asset holdings, Bitcoin, and a couple of alts. They're going to list cryptos as which they've gotten for illegal seizures, which I got to tell you, the Department of Justice has kind of messed that up. I think there's a little bit of hiding of certain cryptos that doesn't make sense. So hopefully they're all there on the balance sheet next tomorrow. And then also banking access reforms, but I think that's more for the Clarity Act. But that'll come in tomorrow. So we'll see just how much they're going to be putting on the balance sheet of the United States government as far as digital assets. And then also, there's one thing that can't fail you. One is the Costco hot dog being $1.50, and the second one is Michael Saylor is going to keep buying the tops. This just happened 2 hours ago. They bought 21,000 Bitcoin for $2.5 billion at 117,000 per Bitcoin. Achieved Bitcoin yield, wow, 25% as of July 29th. They almost have 750,000 Bitcoin. And you know, at some point, they're going to hold 1 million plus. That's a lot. Some people say that's a dangerous thing. I'd rather have Michael Saylor and his company hold it than the US government. That's just me. So good things are happening. We'll see how it all turns out. And then lastly, I just want to give some updates on a couple of alts. World Mobile. I just set myself up with mobile service with them on my iPhone. Actually, what I did was I bought, I have 2 iPhones now, these 2. And one has the World Mobile cellular service. And I'm going to be reviewing that the next month or so and see how it all works out. So far, it's pretty good. I mean, I've got service pretty much everywhere. Everything's fast as far as data, and everything works on the phone so far. So, and when we talk about utility and things that are actually being used, here's your answer. So World Mobile, we'll see how it goes. It looks pretty good so far. And if you want to know like what the difference is between like World Mobile and say like Helium, price is one thing, that's for sure. But as far as like as a mobile network operator, as far as World Mobile, the ownership for World Mobile is they own and operate its own infrastructure. And an MVNO, which is Helium, they don't own it. They pretty much piggyback off T-Mobile, which is fine. It just depends on what you want. Service delivery, it's directly to people like me, and then they resell. And with Helium Mobile, they resell it under their own brand. Investments, World Mobile has their own infrastructure. That's why they heavily invested. And Helium Mobile, they did minimal investment because they're piggybacking off T-Mobile. Nothing wrong with that, just how it is. Control over the network, mobile network, or World Mobile has full control. Helium has limited. So we'll see how it goes. So that's that part for altcoins. And last, there was a good question, which I didn't answer yesterday, and I apologize, which was on SWI. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it, SWI. And I talked about this yesterday on tokenomist.ai. And there was a big unlock coming, and somebody said, hey, I just Googled this or I guess they didn't Google, they grokked it. And Grok said that the last unlock, SWI crashed by 50%. I was like, really? I don't think that's true, but okay. But just so you know, there's an unlock happening in 2 days for SWI. SWI is in the top 20, I believe. And I think it's around $3.80, doing pretty good. But just so you know, here's the price. Damn it. Let me do that again. Here's the prices. Oh, I hate this. I hate when it does this because I can't roll over. Let me try this way. That's better. So here's the price. The price as there is unlocks. So right now the unlock supply is 3.2 billion. This is on April 2025. And then every month there's an unlock. Then in May it went from 3.25 to 3.34. And the price went from $3.54 down to $3.21. That's not 50%, but let's just keep going. So from May to June, again, another unlock, it went from $3.21 to $2.90. Okay, it keeps going down. But then in June to July, the unlock supply was 3.4 billion. And then they went 3.45, and it went from $2.90 to $3.81. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next unlock, which is in 2 days, but chances are not a big, huge, fat deal. And then as a reminder that, and people were saying, but there's so many unlocks for SWI. Just so you know, like it keeps happening like every month until next year in 2026. And even if we go out to August 2030, the unlock supply is still half of the available supply. So I know people talk about SWI and the unlocks, and you should do your own research and take a look at this. But you're not even close for unlocking everything. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. And we talk about is time sensitive. Now let's get into the best part of the show, the Q&A, and we'll answer some questions and talk trash to each other. That's it. Let's go to it. Burros is sweet. LAX guy is here. World Mobile is phone VPN, private data, true. You know what else is cool about World Mobile is that they have this anti-SIM swap. And the way that they do it, so I was talking to Mickey Watkins about this. He was been in telecommunications for a couple decades. And he says, you know how SIM swaps work? I said, I have no idea. He goes, really, it's an inside job. He goes, most of these things, these SIM swaps, it's an inside job. Somebody works within the mobile provider. Somebody comes in that somebody knows, and they do the SIM swap for them, and they get paid for it. He goes, with us, there is none of that. They go, it's going to be a tight-knit, small grouping. And that's why they're offering up to, it's $5 million SIM swap protection. So I was like, yeah, sold. Let's check it out. We'll go from there. I like this one. Bill, I like William. He says, no alt season this cycle. I've been telling you for over 3 years. I think there's a distinction here that we have to talk about, which is, what is alt season? And alt season, for some people, it's when my alts go up. That's it. But I think the broader term of alt season is when all altcoins go up, even the trash ones, which is not your altcoin. I mean, your altcoin that you are is stellar and perfect. Couldn't even keep a straight face. But seriously, so alt season is when pretty much everything goes up across the board and nothing is, as Ben puts it, bleeds to Bitcoin. Now then, I have been saying for quite some time that we're not going to have a big alt season. We might at some point, but I think it's going to be very short. But that doesn't mean that altcoins themselves won't outperform Bitcoin. They will. They will. I guarantee you there are a handful of altcoins that can outperform Bitcoin. I can tell you right now, over the last year or two, there's been some altcoins that have done it. You want to know which one? SWI for one. Let me see. Let me pull this up. And of course, people will say, yeah, but what about from 2013? I'm not talking about that. Of course, Bitcoin's fantastic if you go all the way back to like 2009 and 10, when none of us bought it. Let's just be honest. But well, let's see. So Bitcoin is fantastic. It's like 75, 80% of my portfolio. And over a year, it's up 75%. I'll take it. That's awesome. I mean, we pretty much all beat the S&P 500, right? Congratulations. But did Solana beat it? I don't know. Over 1 year, it's down 2%. No, it wasn't Solana, that's for sure. Wah, wah. How about Dogecoin? Did Dogecoin beat it? Almost. Wow, look at that. 73.6%. That's funny. I got some Doge. Did Tron do it? I like Tron. Damn, it did. Look at that. Tron went up 143.8%. I did not have that on my bingo card. How about Cardano? Oh, close. No, it did. I take that back. It's up 92% over a year. Huh. I'm blushing. I did not know that. Hyperliquid. Well, it hasn't been out that long, so I can't say that. And was I right on SWI? I might be wrong. Oh, yeah. 413.7%. So Bill's right, I think, as far as no altcoin this cycle, no altcoin season this cycle. I think he's correct. I just think there's going to be some that have a narrative and have utility and are going to do really well. And the others are just going to keep sucking. That's pretty much it. And you know which one those are. Those altcoins that suck, the ones that aren't in your portfolio. All right. Quit time. Says, it seems the economy is not that good worldwide. I wonder how retail will come in. Very hard to imagine. It is very hard to imagine retail, especially, but you know what's a funny thing? I remember in 2023, people saying that we weren't going to get a big rally in the crypto market. We definitely wouldn't go over 3 trillion market cap because all retail, it was all just stimmy checks. And that's essentially the only thing that propped us up over a $2 trillion market cap. And that's been proven to be false. I think retail are not the most savviest of investors. That's okay. I believe that when they look around themselves and they go, what can I get into these days? I hear real estate is pretty great. Let me take a look at the real estate prices. Geez, 413,000 median price for a house. I can't afford that. And I can't even qualify for that. Heck, I can't even afford the rent that I have here. Okay, that's out. What about land? Geez, that's even worse. Okay, well, I mean, what about putting into some things of some stocks? Well, the S&P 500, the Mag 7 is pretty good, but as far as like me growing out of this, S&P 500 is not going to get me there because, again, retail investors, they don't think about the long term of being there 30, 40 years. What else can I do? What else has really done really well, exceptional? Gold and silver. I'm just kidding. I own gold and silver, and they might get into gold. They'd be actually very smart to get into gold, more probably silver as well. But I think what they'll probably do is look at digital assets and go, talk to me about this. Maybe there is something here, because when I heard about it last time, it was 20, 30, 40,000. Now it's already, almost tripled that as far as Bitcoin. What about the other stuff? I think there's no other options for them. I think if they look at it and they go, I can't afford squat, and all the money that's sitting in my bank account is worthless now. Well, not worthless, but I want to appreciate. I want to do something. I want to live my life. I don't want to, just work 40 years and then retire and drop dead in 2. So I think that retail will come in once they figure out that this whole thing's a scam as far as like retail investing, and that they can actually get into something that's actually has value, and that will be at least Bitcoin. Probably needs more. Exactly. Quick question. Does anybody feel like they have accumulated enough crypto? Does anybody feel like they've accumulated enough Bitcoin? Let's just start with that. Did you think like, whoa, I've got way too much Bitcoin. I need to slow down. Or you think to yourself, boy, I really wish I would have bought some more Bitcoin and or crypto. Just curious. World Mobile is an absolute game changer. I think so. How much is the World Mobile plan? It depends. It's between $55 and I think it's $80. Now with Helium Mobile, you're looking at like $20, which is pretty good. And if we're just talking about price, price is it. But again, I think the thing that really got me was the safety, and was the ability just for it has coverage of 99% in the United States. And I'm like, because I travel a lot, I want to check it out in Puerto Rico too. But I was like that, and then that SIM swap $5 million insurance policy, because I am paranoid about losing everything. So yeah. Uzi says, why does TANGEM have a sell option but doesn't work? Can you see on TANGEM eventually? I've done it in TANGEM, Uzi. I don't know what's going on. Maybe update the app. I will say this. It sucks. The sell option. Now, I love TANGEM. Everybody knows that. That's my favorite cold storage device. But I despise the facts of the sell option within TANGEM, because they're using like MoonPay or something, and the rates are ridiculous. I refuse on principle alone to pay for those rates. In that case, if you want something else, I would move that to a hot wallet or move it to an exchange and sell it over there. And actually, first of all, I like Kraken. Kraken's got its issues too. But there's a link in the description, and it's my top 10 videos to watch. And the last one is the video on centralized exchange spreads. Watch that video. I show you how to eliminate those. Kraken's good. There's some really bad ones out there. Coinbase. And just watch that. And I think that'll help you out a lot. Hey, Dogs Thrive, you're here. Great. Competitive pricing, but secure data. That's just it. Like, I'm getting to that point in my life where I'm just like, man, I don't want any more hassles. Just make sure everything's safe and I don't get screwed over, and I'm good. Rob, thoughts on Bonk today? I bought some Bonk. How crazy is that? And I was actually, I'm moving things in my TANGEM card. I'm going to tell you my screw up today. So when I first got a TANGEM, I bought a 2-pack because I was being cheap. I was like, wow. I was like, what was it? $51 or $60 for a 3-pack. I'm like, I'm going to save $9. Stupid. So I bought the 2-pack, and I can't find the second card. Like, I think I know where it is, but I'm not for sure. I don't have a way to check it right now. So I'm like, you know what? If I lose this other card and I've lost the second card, I'm screwed. So like I tell everybody in the video, You get 3 cards. If you lose one, no big deal, right? You got 2 left. And if you lose a second card, why losing so many cards? And then you're down to your last one. So I actually have been transferring crypto from one tangent to another tangent. I got multiple tangems. And it was Solana. It was Tether on Solana. And I was like, why do I have Tether on Solana? So I just swapped it within Tangem and got bonked for the hell of it. So why not? But yeah. Mike's here. Did not get the notification. Hua. You know, don't rely on YouTube giving you guys a notification that I'm on, because they do not do that. Let's see. Rob, how would I switch my S25 Ultra from T-Mobile to World Mobile? It's actually very, very simple. You just sign up over at T-Mobile or at World Mobile. But here's the thing. Don't do it yet. Let me go through the process. Maybe World Mobile sucks. I mean, I like Mickey. I mean, we're friends, I would say. And I like talking to him. But if his service sucks, I'm going to have to tell everybody, hey, this service sucks. And then you'd be like, oh, thanks for telling me. So just wait for a second. I mean, so far it's pretty good, but it's like my first day. So yes. Yes, we are early. No, I was an NCO officer, or no, I was just a sergeant, just trying to make my way through the Army. Alt season was Ben is finally taking about share coins. Yeah. Can't wait to get even on ADA since I've been following you. I don't blame you. I think I'll do quite well. It just depends. It's not what I say. You heard it from Rob. He loves Stellar. See, that'll be the clip that everybody clips. I use carrier pigeons. Very nice. Wow. Load up on 200K of WPM. Baller. Coins outperformed Bitcoin relative to the time of the market. Very true. XRP did crush it. That's true. XRP had a massive run. Yeah, they just really did great, especially everybody in the XRP community. Hats off to those guys, man. They did great. Oh, what else we got? Seth says, it's complicated because I'm in a group plan. You got the family, don't you? I know. I talked to Mickey about that. I go, hey, man, are you going to do some like family offers? Because like, it's us and we got some of the kids on. So we're like, how's this going to work? And he's like, yeah, we'll roll that out at some point. But I had to get a second phone and just do it that way because honestly, Brian says, I was unsubscribed from Dan the other day. I don't blame you. Sometimes the stuff gets monotonous. It's interesting. David says, why am I hearing BlackRock and their ETF IBIT is having an impact on suppressing the price of Bitcoin? It'd be interesting to see. Let's take a look at the ETF inflows and outflows. Oh, this is Ethereum. Actually, real quick, let's take a look at Ethereum inflows and outflows today. No, it's not out. Well, yesterday, wow, look at that. 132 million for BlackRock and then 0 across the board, except for Fidelity sold 49 million. So you got net positive 65. Not too bad. I mean, Ethereum ETF's doing okay. But what David was talking about, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin ETF flows. I guess the question for everybody will how would they do that? Because they have to hold one-to-one for their clients or custody. Well, actually, they don't custody. It's Coinbase Prime. The Bitcoin itself, so they have to buy it. Unless they're telling their investment advisors to suppress and not recommend to their customers, but I don't know why they would. Well, I guess they could do it. I will say this, it has slowed down magnificently. Look at BlackRock as far as like the inflows. 10th of July, 448 million. 11th of July, wow, almost $1 billion in one day. Wow. 394, 416, 763, 3/4 billion, $500 million here. And then 21, 22, just 0. 23, 142, 32, 92, 147. Well, 147 is not bad. I guess it would really come down to a couple different factors. Maybe it is. It's interesting. That's why I like talking to everybody. So we mean directions I would not have gone. Brian says, really doesn't feel like 118K is suppression. It is weird though, isn't it? I mean, everything is kind of much going in the right direction. We don't have like, you know, China banning Bitcoin for the 20th time. We don't have Gary Gensler and the SEC going, yeah, it's, you know, we think it's this and we think it's really dangerous, but here we don't have the prior administration doing choke point 2.0. I mean, we have a current administration that's super pro digital assets, especially stable coins, and actually putting Bitcoin on. And then we've got, I mean, the monstrous Bitcoin treasuries, the institutions that are buying, or the businesses that are buying, put on their balance sheet. We've got nation states. There's other rumors of that happening. We had a sell-off of 80,000 Bitcoin just last week. Didn't move the market that much at all, which is, I think, pretty positive. There's a lot of things positively in the ETF doing well. It's you would think it would be a little bit higher, but that's just how it goes. Yeah, taking a vacation needs some spending. ARK is moving heavy on ETH ETFs. Good for them. I think it's a good thing for them, especially if they get APY and revenue from staking. Taking a vacation. Let's leave it here. We're over 30 minutes now. Seth says, it's hard for me to predict the price of ADA this year. I'd hope $2 to $4. I'm going to give you my prediction, and then I'm going to show you the risk bands for Cardano on into the cryptoverse. So my prediction for Cardano is, of course, somewhere between 22 cents and $180 by the end of 2025. Undefeated in price predictions. And then for the risk factors into the cryptoverse, you can find a link in the description, 10% off the first month, just saying. Let's see, where'd it go? Cardano. Oh, it's a good one. Fiat risk is 0.53. It's pretty good at a whopping 78 cents. So what I like about the risk factors is it gives you a way to kind of ladder out. I always like to run 0.75 to start laddering. If I DCA in, I'm going to DCA out at $2 and a penny. Might be a good idea to take some profits, just saying. Or how about at 0.8, $2.55. 0.85, $3.22. Now we're talking. 0.9 is $4. And if we go crazy ballistic, I don't know if you can see this, it's $6.55. Wow. That'd be nice. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. And thanks for hanging out with me for about 30 minutes. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Again, tomorrow, very big day. I don't expect Jerome Powell to do any rate cuts, but I am really interested in the government coming out with that documentation for digital assets. We'll see where it goes. Thanks so much, everybody.